So, rigs. Rigs are important, especially based on where it is that you're fishing. So I'm going to take you through the rigs that I would use. I wouldn't say I use a big arsenal of rigs. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, here I use 60 different rigs for all these different types of fish. No. The main one I would use is a pulley rig. Here's a pulley rig for rough ground, fishing for congers. £150 line, 7/0 hook. You can go up in hook size, you can go down in hook size. If you've never seen a pulley rig before, there's a rotten bottom. Just going to use this as an example of your main line. What it allows you to do is fish hard on the bottom. Your lead would be clipped to this. This is super awkward. But that's how it would sit. Fish comes and picks your bait up. It lifts the lead off the bottom for you. I'm going to go more into detail to do with the pulley rig because I do think it is the ultimate rig. But that is literally how it works. Fish comes, picks up the bait and pulls the line, lifts the weight off the bottom, so it works like a pulley. Hence the name. Next rig, your running ledger. Running ledger can be used, it's mainly used on a boat. But if you're in holes, say for the likes of breakwaters, fishing for congers, or not even just congers, you can get big specimen size rockling and stuff in between breakwaters. There's coalies, there's everything in breakwaters. There's like a food, whenever the water hits it, it brings in food and it gets stuck in the rock, so it's going to bring fish in. A running ledger, now this, you might think this doesn't really look like anything, it's a piece of line with a swivel and a hook. So the way a running ledger would work, can't really use this. Say this is your main line, you would put a weight on, and then a buffer bead, then you would tie it. We'll just use a quick knot here, just be granny knot or something. And that's why it's, if it didn't tangle on itself. That's why it's called a running ledger, because the weight is running free up the main line. This is quite a good rig if you are fishing for the likes of conger. Reason being, the fish picks the bait up and moves off of it, it can't feel the weight. Same as whenever you're on a boat, say you're out for ling or taupe, spur dog, wherever it may be. You want least resistance for the fish to be able to feel, hold on a wee minute, there's something funny going on here. So that's pretty much where I would use this. It would be in breakwaters or even out in a boat if you're fishing for the likes of taupe and spur dog. I would really only use this rig, this next rig, if I want to make sure that my bait is hard on the bottom, making sure that that bait is flush on the bottom. And you might think, well, surely fish swim. So for the likes of rays are not flatfish. It's not the same. Rays are stuck on the bottom, their mouth are underneath, so they have to go over the top of something. They're not going to, like, maybe they do, I don't know, but from my experience with them, they're going along the bottom of the seabed trying to find food. I've been told as well by people, don't use grip blades whenever you're fishing for rays, because if a ray goes over the top of the grip blade, it like spooks them and the ray will disappear because of the spikes, obviously. Some places, especially the likes of Lochs Valley, you don't really have a choice whenever it comes to using grip blades. The currents they're just too strong. You'll not get away with just using plain bombs. Up and over rig. This isn't even an up and over rig, this is a pulley dropper. Your line goes up and down. For me personally, I like using the up and over rig because it allows you to have a really long flowing trace. It's like double, can be up to double the rig body. So if you want a really long hook snood, long flowing traces, for say the current isn't running quite that fast, it just allows you to make sure that your bait is far away from the lead. Once again, it sort of causes least resistance. And there's a few different ways of making an up and over rig. The way I make mine, it's automatically into a running ledger. There's another way you can do it where the lead is fixed. But the way mine does it, it is literally a running ledger going up and down and then clipping back on itself. So whenever it comes undone, you're back onto that running ledger the exact same way that I said about how I would use for conger. I'm not going to be making these rigs. If that's something you would want me to do, by all means I will do that there, but it really will come down to use. Another rig I would use just to make sure that the bait is hard on the bottom is the pulley dropper. It's a wee bit more finicky setting up compared to the up and over. I don't know. I sort of feel like the up and over is a lot. How do you explain it? When you've baited up and you're getting ready to cast out, obviously everything has to clip up in order for it to stay where it is until it hits water. This like comes undone a lot of the time. Once again, this is for fishing hard on the bottom. Now you don't need to use this just for rays. I'm just using ray as an example. You can use this for flatfish and just change the hook size and your snood. I would probably go down to fluorocarbon. The last video I was using up and over rigs. Down to 12 pound fluorocarbon with smaller hooks. I think I was using size 2 Sukumas. I said it in the last one to do with rays, 4.0 Sukumas. So you can use this for the likes of flatfish. Cod will take it, literally anything will take it, but it's more of a where you want your bait in the water column. You want it hard on the bottom. Up and over rig or pulley dropper rig. Not super hard to make. I would definitely recommend making your own rigs as well. It just adds, well for me personally, it does add to the whole fishing. You're out here, you're making your own rigs, you're making your own weights, making your own lures, you're catching fish on something that you made. It's just a bit of a bonus, isn't it really? So, that's a pulley dropper rig. Into the water. Your hook snood runs right down to the lead. The lead is stuck on the bottom. There you now have, you are 100% on the bottom with a pulley dropper rig. Sometimes up and over rig will get stuck, but both of them are for the exact same reason. It just comes down to you. One thing to do with the pulley dropper rig though, this clip is literally a bent bait clip. All you need to do is bring hook snoods with different hooks, different breaking strains of hook snoods, and you can literally just unclip it and reclip it. So that is a bonus with this rig, is you can just change it based on whatever it is that you might be targeting. Say you're targeting congers with this rig and you're like, okay, I've had a conger, maybe I want, I don't know, a pollock. I'm not going to need a 7 to 10 hook. You know, I want to change it down and maybe put a 1.0 on. That's a bonus with this rig. Now the match rig, like I said, I'm not going to be making these unless it's something that you want. Different people have different ways of making flopper rigs. This is a 3-hook flopper. If you're fishing the likes of clean ground, you might want to only be using 2-hook floppers with bigger hooks. I'm not going to drag this whole rig out because it's exactly the same. People use crimps when making floppers. For me, I use glue. It was actually here 1 wee second ago. Loads of different glue on the market. For me, Tronics. I'm a Tronics fanboy, unfortunately. I would use this rig, not even just during matches. See if I'm fishing a beach and it's getting tough, like you're not really seeing anything coming out. change over to this. I think the name for it is the invisible scratching rig. It is still a flopper rig, but everything is clear. I'm not using swivels. These are 4-way beads, using clear glass beads. Reason why I'm using glass and not plastic. Sometimes the glue, plastic on plastic, sometimes it doesn't set right. Some people say it's the glue. I've never really had a problem with it. Just I know a lot of people say it does happen with different makes of the glue. So I'm using glass. It seems to hold pretty well. These wee small clips here. As for your leads, like I said, you're not really using big leads whenever you're scratching about trying to find them finicky fish. And that's the whole purpose of this rig. It is for the finicky fish, you know, the ones that are maybe getting spooked and stuff like that. There's no beads on it. Absolutely nothing on it. You're trying to present more of a natural looking bait, whether it be worm or like a mackerel strip or a sandale, a whole sandale. Like you can see, that's a size 6 Sakuma Manta. That's a small hook. A lot of people won't use hooks that size. Sometimes it requires you to go down in size. It's a part of fishing, especially on our coast. So yes, a wee tip I will give to you, if you are using flopper rigs. I'm bringing this out just as an example. Don't know if you can see that. You can see the length of them hook snoods. Now, for me, I make these a full arm width apart. Do one close to the weight, one close to the swivel at the top, and then bring the middle one down pretty much smack bang in the middle of the two where the other two are. It keeps it sort of equal. If you're using hook snoods that are really long, you can find sometimes, I've found it like one after another, flounder fishing. The flounder picks up 2 baits. So hooks are too close together. It's able to find both them baits. You know, you can be like, oh, but it's 2 foot apart. No, these can cross. Like, it's not 2 foot apart. They're pretty close. Now you might say these are long. If you have a good tidal flow, then these will be sitting flopping about. They'll move about. That's okay. But something that you might want to try and do, if it is really hard, is make these super short. Because if you make them super short, you're actually covering more ground. If you think of the span of what, I'm 5 foot for talk's sake, you know your rig body's 5 foot, and your hook snoods are maybe, I don't know, not even a foot. You're covering 1 foot, maybe at the first foot, the third foot, and the 5th foot, compared to you using long hook snoods, where you're not covering per foot, you're covering maybe not even half a foot. So definitely change it up. And I'm not using anything on these. Yellow Gemini beads. These luminous yellow Gemini floating beads. I think these are the 6mm. There's videos on YouTube of flounders. There's no bait even on the hook, and they're just attacking. They're attacking the bead. So definitely look into this. You know, if you're struggling, you're going, this invisible rig isn't working, cut the hook snood off, put one of these on, put a stop knot behind it. It might make a difference. Also, moon glows. I've talked about this in the last video. Not necessarily moon glow in particular, but silicone attractors. You don't even need to cut the hook off. You literally just thread that on, and it also works as a bait stop. So there you go. Would be the rig I would be using for match fishing. I think that pretty much covers the rigs that I would use. So, like I said, you have the running ledger, you have a pulley rig, you have a pulley dropper rig, you have an up and over rig, and then you've your flopper, whether it's 2 hook or 3 hook floppers. So I hope that helps. I think in the next segment, I'll actually make a pulley rig and then give you some tips. Like I said, maybe some anglers don't think about when it comes to making the rigs based on where it is that you're fishing. But I'll talk you through how to make one of them in the next one. So thanks for watching.